I am Spencer Fondaumiere. I am in Nairobi, primarily for the inaugural Best of Kenya Sommelier contest. I am a sommelier myself. I used to be the head of the South African Sommeliers Association. I am an ASI Diploma Sommelier, of which there are only two of us in Africa. Why is it important to have events and go through the trouble of organizing and actually having a Best Sommelier in Kenya? Contests are very important. I think it's important to have a measurable. You need a metric. You need a metric to say, this is good, this is bad. Gives you a measurable, gives you something to mark against. Now, the world of wine it's difficult when something's subjective, because if something's objective, it's either good or it's bad, and it's done. Like swimming is objective. The guy who finishes first finished first. He touched the wall first, or she touched the wall first. They won the competition. When something's subjective, it's like, I don't know, I thought that guy was. And so the world of wine and food is very subjective. And so it's very difficult to create metrics into something that's subjective. And that's where a contest will come in, because then you say, cool, we're going to take all of these people who have proved to be good. Who has done this the best? What makes someone a good sommelier? Do they need to have a qualification? Do they need to have competed in a contest? Or do they just need to be able to execute what's required very well? And I think the third part is probably the correct answer, because some of the best sommeliers in the world have not got qualifications, have not won those things, but have gone on to do some amazing things. The problem with that, though, is that is 1 in 100. The other 99 are people placeholding in situations where they're the people in the wine-facing position, and then they say, "Oh no, I'm the sommelier," but they don't know. They don't know what's required. They know their wine list well. They don't know any. They have no international benchmarks. They have no. They know how to do service in the single space that they work in. They can't execute beyond that, and so it's a very abused position from that perspective. So I've opened this 5-star restaurant. I'm aiming for Michelin. I want this to be the top destination restaurant in Kenya, and I want to hire a som. Where do I start? Who's the best som in Kenya? Now you know. Now there is a someone. That's what competition does. And you can't understate. You really can't understate that. That's how that momentum grows. And so that does wonders for an industry like ours. It's completely virgin territory. This has never been done before. And the willingness of the team around me, like everyone who are working with us, trying to make this thing happen was just, it was first class. There's an inherent Kenyan work ethic or willingness to learn and work that shines through completely. And yeah, that was very cool. So that was certainly the thing that stood out the most. Africa's an emerging as a continent. A lot of stuff is a copy-paste of what has happened in Europe without necessarily adding our own flavor to how things are done. And I've always not thought that's the correct way. And I think we have such rich heritage. We have a rich culinary heritage in Africa. We have we have just a general enjoyment of food and good times heritage in Africa as well. Here we were in Nairobi, in the middle of Nairobi in Westlands, organizing this competition with Kenyan candidates, Kenyan judges. It's a Kenyan competition, and then you got this flair, and it's uniquely Kenyan, and that's cool. That's cool because that's what our entertainment looked like. And you'd go to a restaurant in Nairobi. Didn't matter what food was being served. There's always music in the background. It was part of the vibe, and so that's very stiff white collar, white tablecloth, and the vibe is. It's not us. It's not that, and I don't think it needs to be. So that Kenyan flair was so cool. There's something doing on social media of you dancing, and I thought that's so cool. Like I wouldn't be dancing like that as the head of the. When I was in your position in the South African one, there was such a. It was a different vibe, but I mean, I think that's what makes it unique, and I think celebrating it in that way is really important.